Good morning, my friends. It is a brand new day, and yesterday we had our very first official live on our channel, which was so much fun. You guys were so incredible. It was so cool to be able to chat, get distracted by you, and share some of the things that we've loved doing the last year, but also some of our big plans for this year. And I hope that you are as excited for them as we are. I am not far off from going into work for the day, but I am planning on coming back tonight and going through my garden, sharing a few things with you guys, because there is a new series that I want to start on our channel. So other than the bus conversion videos that are about to come to the channel, hopefully really soon, as I said in our chat, we just need to get our license, which Sam's going to go and do, and then we've got to go pick the bus that we want to have. So bit of a road trip coming up our way, a bit of a mission trying to get a giant bus here onto our property with our little tight driveways and our slopes and hills, but we're so excited to get that started. But other than that big project coming up for our channel, I do also want to have a reflective series on the channel. I know a few of you have mentioned that you want us to talk about the steps we took to get from full-time work over in Melbourne, in the suburbs, over to the homestead here on our rural property, and being able to then transition to both being part-time and now transitioning to Sam being full-time on the property and with me being full-time at school. We also have goals going into the future where we both want to be full-time on the property so that we have more time to do things like workshops and teachings and tours and all of the amazing things that we want to achieve here on a homestead, living for ourselves, providing for ourselves, all that stuff we can only really achieve on a grand scale if we're both here and if we're not both working full time, because it takes a lot of time. So in this reflective series, I hope to go through some of the steps that we took in a lot more detail. I wish I talked less so that I could cover it all in one video, but that's just not a reality of who I am. You guys know I love chatting. So I hope to cover all things from how we became more food sustainable, how we started to garden for the first time and the experience of that, talk a little bit about beauty products and health products, how we have shifted away from using chemicals and unnatural things on our bodies and in our bodies and moved more towards a holistic healing method. So hopefully I'll be able to share a lot of my resources with you guys. I'll be able to kind of give you the steps that we took, and that might help guide you in what you might need to do one day if that's something you want to do, or even just feed your curiosity if you're wondering how we did it. Look at that beautiful sun flare, but I'm going to do that a little bit later on through the day, and hopefully there'll be a video that I'll put out once a week covering a few different topics. But I do want to show you guys this morning just a couple of things happening in the garden that are a bit exciting, that are a bit experimental. You guys know I love experimenting in the garden because what works in one person's garden might not necessarily work in our garden. And we're finding this to be really true because here on our property on this little hill, we seem to be having more of a subtropical kind of environment here. So we're able to grow things a lot longer, but certain things die off when we wouldn't expect them to. And there's certain things that have rules, like at the end of summer, when your plants start to die off, you cut them back to the root and you let the roots sink into the ground, or let things die off naturally, or other people will say pull things out so that you have more space to grow other things. And every single method works so differently, so it's really cool to be able to put into practice what people say, but also find out what actually works here in our garden. And one of those things is our brassicas. And in particular, the Brussels sprouts. Last season, they grew really, really well. I grew Brussels sprouts for the very first time. They grew really tall. They were really fun to grow. And I actually doubted myself and I thought that I had failed. But when I went to harvest the Brussels sprouts, they were incredible. Small, but delicious. And I actually left the plants to keep growing in the soil. So they kind of died back. They stopped doing too much. I did cut them back to the root, and what's actually ended up happening, if you can see, is new sprouts have actually started to grow out of the old ones. So I'm really curious to see if this season they will grow again, because if they do grow again, you guys know what that means, right? It means that here in our climate, we can grow something like Brussels sprouts almost perennially. right? Because it means that they don't die back every year or every season for you to then plant again from a seed. It means you can leave it in the ground, cut it back, and then the next season they'll just grow back from that spot. So there's huge advantage to leaving things in the ground and the roots in the ground, because some of the time you'll have plants growing back that you didn't expect to. And the same thing actually did happen with our capsicum plant or our chili plants, which I want to show you guys next. Oh, it's a bit yucky. Let me just get rid of it. So this plant behind me is actually our chili plant, and this is a plant that actually failed in my garden last season. I planted it in the garden where I was just sitting with the Brussels sprouts. I had 3 chili plants growing there. I'm not quite sure what chili plants they were. I believe they were called bell chilies, and they're definitely spicy. We've already tasted them. They're delicious and spicy, and it's really cool. But yeah, last season they didn't grow taller than maybe a foot off the ground, so like 30 centimeters, or not even 30 centimeters, it was like 10 centimeters off the ground, like hardly anything. No chilies, nothing, terrible growth. And I thought maybe I planted them at the wrong time, maybe they just don't grow well in our climate. But it turns out that these guys just needed a second season to thrive, and now the plant is bigger than ever before. Like, it's reaching up as tall as me in some sections. Huge. So yeah, super cool, because it means that this chili plant can keep coming back and regenerating itself with every growing season. Those tomatoes are worth mentioning too, because they are actually volunteers. They came up around the hose and I was able to transplant them. I don't think it's tomato season anymore. So nice. I don't think it's tomato season anymore, but they want to grow, so I'm going to give them a shot. Not sure what kind of tomatoes they are, but any tomato is better than none. My potatoes and my garlics have officially come through, which is great to see. A lot of these potatoes had already sprouted. Some of them didn't though, so it's good to see that the method of growing them works either way. These beds beside me and behind me that I have planted my broccoli, my cauliflower, my cabbages, and some of my Brussels sprout plants. I have them covered up, but when I peeked in the other day, it seems like a cabbage moth butterfly has still gotten in there, laid some eggs, some caterpillars have hatched, and they've been absolutely enjoying the feast of my undisturbed leaves. So I really do like this protective netting, but I kind of enjoy the process of coming out every morning, seeing my vegetables growing and being able to pick off pests and bugs as I see them and dispose of them that way, because I feel like when it's covered up like this, I'm less likely to come out here and check on it, and so problems like that can occur where my things are getting eaten without me knowing. So I'll show you guys the damage of that, and I'll go back to the chopping board of what I'm going to do with this season. If we open it up, you can see the damage there. See, look at this guy. So usually they wouldn't get to this size because I'd pick them off well before, but because they've just been able to go ham, most of those caterpillars are huge in there. And look, I will be honest, it may not necessarily be that a butterfly has gotten into the holes. It could just be a matter of some of the eggs had already been laid and I hadn't gotten rid of them before covering it up. Or perhaps there were still caterpillars that I had missed when I was picking them off. So anything is possible, but it goes back to the point that when it's covered up, I cannot see what's happening to the plant underneath unless I pick it up and open it every time. and so damage happens to the plants before I can really manage it, especially because I'm not full-time here on the homestead or even part-time. I'm only here for so few days, and when we go away and visit friends, it's really hard to stay on top of if it's not in my sight. But I am noticing that as far as what's been eaten, it's mainly the broccoli plants that have the damage rather than the cabbages or the Brussels sprouts. Oh well. Maybe there would have been even more damage if it wasn't covered up. It's good having the chickens so close here so we can just throw away weeds nice and easy. Hi sheep. Kai, why is your mouth always so dirty? You eat like a little pig, mate. Hi sheep. Hey Alf. Is she pregnant? Who knows? Are you, Alfie? The sweet potatoes have been doing really well. Our neighbour actually gave us one of his that he grew from our little sprouts. So let's dig and see if we can find any that are ready for us. I think you gotta go pretty low, don't you? Yeah, look at them there. This one looks good. That's a big one. Pick that one off. Just so you guys can see one. Ready? Not bad. I'll leave the rest to develop. There's another one there. There's going to be so many. I'm so excited. Cover it up, cover it up. I didn't do anything. Don't tell Sam. So good. Our chickens are also finally laying in their coop. Well done, ladies. Oak is still with us and chilling. And there is just one more thing that I want to show you guys, and that is some of the volunteers that we have growing this season. So for those that are new to gardening, as we were a year ago, volunteers happen after you have a few gardens. So usually if you plant things a few seasons later, you'll have volunteers coming up. Usually they're potatoes, pumpkins, tomatoes, and sometimes you get the odd surprise and you go, what the heck is growing here? So here I have potatoes re-sprouting. I've got some sweet potato planted in as well. And then I've got my lavenders. And I guess we can try to see if any of them have roots or not. So you guys may have seen that I tried to propagate these lavender plants just by pulling them off of that, trimming off the leaves at the bottom and then literally just sticking them into the ground. And so far, it kind of looks like they have some new growth here. So I'm going to say that it may have worked. I'm going to sacrifice one just to see. And always transplant it back in. Are there roots? Not really, hey. I'll poke it back in. We'll keep hoping. But yeah, they seem to, they're still alive, so I feel like something's happening there. Strawberries have also looking a bit more comfy. Someone's getting to them before I am. Oh, this is another exciting thing. This is actually one of our beans. It's growing. Yay! I'm also attempting to let these carrots go to seed in their second season so I can actually harvest the seeds rather than the carrot. Been terrible at planting carrots and actually harvesting them lately. Chickpeas going strong. My lentils actually got eaten. Thank you to whichever bug did that. And radishes don't seem to be doing anything. What's up with that? Here's one that started sprouting and wasn't in the ground anymore. Oh no, and that one too. Tuck him in. Here, buddy. I think I dropped a few here. And the mushroom bed. Unfortunately, this didn't work out. You can see the grain spawn is still kind of just here, not doing much. And last I checked under some of the straw, it kind of looked like the bugs had gotten to everything before anything really had a chance. Yeah. As far as this, it hasn't gone too well. You can really see that the mushrooms did try to grow, but not a lot happened. I think the bugs got to them first, or I don't know, just not the right conditions, possibly too cold. I am thinking of maybe taking this garden, the straw, all the mycelium in there, and putting it under the house so that it's a little bit more controlled. See if that helps and makes a difference to the garden bed. That was one of your suggestions, which is one of the things I love about this community. We can problem solve these things together. Here's an example of a volunteer just casually coming up. Hey, there's been wallabies here. Look at this. Now that's permaculture, using what's there and making it grow together. Pumpkins, using the netting for the fruit trees as their trellis. There's a little pumpkin there. That's just crazy. It's going on the tree too. Alright guys, well that's kind of it for today. I did just want to give you guys a bit of an update. I feel like it's been a while since I've really gone into my garden, filmed, given it the time, the attention that I want to, and shared more about what we are doing. So I am hoping to do a lot more of that coming up. Yeah, it's just been a crazy holiday period and now coming back to school, settling in, all the things. So make sure to give this video a like. It really shows your support and helps us to get out to more people, build our community, encourage more people to talk to each other, to help one another. And it's also just fun to connect with others all around Australia and the world as well. But stick around for the new exciting projects coming up, including the bus conversion, the reflective series talking about our steps to becoming homesteaders. Okay, and on that note, I'm going to leave you guys there and I'll catch you guys next time.